All right, co-main event now goes down in the middleweight division. We got Brendan Allen coming in at minus 210 going up against Edmund Shahbazyan, who comes in at plus 180. Now, this is the biggest fumble of all time. Maybe not of all time. I'm probably exaggerating a little bit there. But for Brendan Allen to step in on short notice back in October and take the hype away from a streaking middleweight contender like Renier de Ridder and just beat the piss out of that guy after the first round, right? To go from that to co-main eventing an Apex fight against a rising, Shahbazyan is not a prospect anymore, but a rising contender, a dangerous rising contender, albeit, is absolutely insane to me, right? How does Allen not, first of all, get a main event? How does he not fight somebody above him in the rankings? And why would he even accept this? Now, from what I've heard, or at least what we can kind of connect the dots with, both these guys are managed by Ali Abdelaziz, Dominance MMA, right? Obviously, he should be looking out for his clients, but it looks like he's looking out a little bit more for Shahbazyan than he is Brendan Allen. I don't know why Allen accepted this fight. If he loses, it's his big time fumble. If the odds tell you anything, obviously he's favored in it, so he should win. But still, why he's taking this fight is beyond me. But let's get down to it. Now, Allen, he's always been a guy that's kind of been knocking on the contender's door. Right? He fell short against Nasruddin Imavov in a big spot. Then he came up short against Anthony Hernandez in a rematch. But then he had, probably the performance of his career against Marvin Vettori, where we got to see him show off his striking a little bit more than we have seen in recent fights. He's a guy that often goes out there and looks to grapple his opponents, try to get them into the submission game and try to find the tap. But with Vettori's been a guy that doesn't really throw with a lot of power and has kind of just been more so of a punching bag than anything. And Allen knew if he could stay safe enough and throw enough volume that he could easily outstrike Vettori, and that's exactly what we ended up getting. I believe they ended up winning Fight of the Night that night, if I'm not mistaken as well. But Allen has been improving his all-around game. We've known him for a long time he started off his career mostly with Rufus Sport. Then he went down to Killcliff FC in Florida. But now he's been really mixing things up between Killcliff as well as Valley Flow System in Chicago, which is, where Bilal Muhammad trains. Ignacio Bahamundes often trains there as well. Juliana Pena has trained there often as well. So that team is slowly growing itself as well. And Allen, obviously, one of their big fighters. He has a good kicking game. He loves his head kicks, loves throwing combinations, but it's really about getting to the grappling where he can often dominate opponents with very good control, a nasty submission game. He takes the back of his opponents pretty easily, and that often causes them a lot of trouble. Now, he's going up against Edmund Shahbazyan, who is really starting to roll as of late, right? A lot of his fights have been one of those spots where he's having very good success early, then he falls off and his cardio suffers big time and he ends up getting finished, just as we saw in the Gerald Mearshart fight. There's so many fights that he's fallen short where he's just gotten finished later on in fights because he just hasn't been able to manage his gas tank all that well. He comes back, knocks out Dylan Budka pretty quickly, very easy win from there. The Andre Petroski fight, that was his second win by decision in 15 career victories. Because he fought very educated, right? He did a great job in terms of stuffing the takedowns of Petroski and then putting enough volume on him on the feet that he, didn't exert too much energy, but clearly landed much more damage, and that was clearly hurting Petroski throughout that fight. So he got to fight it at his pace and dictate the pace of his fight. The Andre Muniz fight, he started off kind of hot, stuffed the takedowns of Muniz, but it seemed like those last few minutes that Muniz was starting to turn it up a bit, and that type of pace is the pace that would cause Shahbazyan some issues. Luckily for Shahbazyan, Muniz makes a mistake with the striking defense, gets clipped, and Shahbazyan puts him away at the ending of that first round. I would have loved to see that fight go into the second round and see how Shahbazyan would have reacted to that type of pace being set in the second half of that first round. But luckily for Shahbazyan, the shining part of his game came through for him, and it's his striking. Very good speed, very good power with his strikes, good head kicks, nasty straights down the pipe. That's what makes him special as a striking game. He lands with precision, he has good speed, and he has good power. His grappling is not too bad, but that's often where we see him exert too much energy, and that's often where his cardio game starts to come into play, and often see him start to slow down. He's on a 3-fight winning streak now. That momentum is firmly in his favor now, but it's all about coming through in this big spot against an experienced, tough, stylistic matchup in Brendan Allen. Now, I got to admit, I was a little surprised that Allen was up about to that minus 210 line. I thought people would read a little bit more into Shahbazyan's striking advantage, but Allen has pretty good durability, right? I don't think Allen is easy to knock out, and I think Allen knows the assignment here. He knows what to do. He knows to keep a high pace. He knows to mix in the grappling when he can. He knows that he might not get the first couple of takedown attempts, but if he stays busy enough, he'll eventually wear Shahbazyan down. I think he'll stay consistent with his kicks, which especially if he targets them to the body, will start to slow Shahbazyan down as well. And as long as Allen can work out of that first round while setting a good enough pace, he will be able to reap the fruits of his labor in the second and third rounds, and that's where I think we see Allen eventually come through with a finish. So I think the way to take Allen here would probably be late round props. I know we're going to get those hammered. Everybody loves hammering late round props against Shahbazyan, but I think Allen will eventually come through with one of those spots. I think Shahbazyan's best way of winning this fight is round 1 knockout, but I think for the most part, we're going to see Allen stay on that gas, cause a lot of chaos. Hopefully he stays safe enough so he doesn't get chin checked, and then I think that he starts to roll downhill in the second and third rounds and eventually get a win. I'm going to call Shahbazyan by rear naked choke. Let's call it round 2. I'm going to say he sets a high enough pace that Shahbazyan starts gassing in round 2, and Allen senses it and goes for the back and gets the choke.